Percentages, ratios and proportions. You need to be able to convert to a percentage, convert from a percentage, find a percentage of a number, express one quantity as a percentage of another, given a percentage, what to do with it. You need to understand about ratio, proportion and proportional parts, what a proportion is, what does it mean, and be able to work with two quantities that are proportional. Two groups win equal large amounts of money in a lotto draw. The first group consists of Alan, Brendan and Ciara. They decide to divide their prize in the ratio of 25 to 15 to 20. The second group of Dermot, Eve and Fiona decide to divide their prize in the ratio of 7/8 to 3/4 to 1/2. Write each ratio in its simplest form. So start with group 1. 25, 15 and 20 can all be divided by 5. So we end up with 5 to 3 to 4. Now let's have a look at group 2. So whenever we are using fractions, we want to try and simplify ratios involving fractions, what we do is we get the lowest common multiple of the denominators. So we get the multiples of 8, the multiples of 4, the multiples of 2, so that's our times tables. So for example 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 and so on. And we find the lowest common multiple. So 8 is the lowest common multiple of 8, 4 and 2. So we multiply each of the fractions by 8. 7/8 times 8 is 7. 3/4 times 8 is 6. And 1/2 times 8 is 4. So we end up with 7 to 6 to 4. Part 2. Find out which of Alan and Dermot gets the greater amount. So group 1 was in the ratio of 25 to 15 to 20. And since Alan was the first name mentioned and 25 was the first number mentioned, Alan gets 25 parts. We know that the 25 simplified to 5, so Alan gets 5 parts. Dermot's group, the fractions. Dermot was the first name mentioned in the group and 7/8 was the first number mentioned in the ratio. So Dermot gets 7/8, which we know simplified to 7. So we need to find out what percentage of the first group's prize Alan gets and what percentage of the second group's prize Dermot gets. So Alan gets 5 parts out of 5 plus 4 plus 3, which is 12 parts. So Alan gets 5 parts out of a total of 12. Thus, the percentage of the first group's prize that Alan gets is 5 over 12 times 100%, which is 41.67%. So Alan gets 41.67% of his group's winnings. Dermot gets 7 parts out of 7 plus 6 plus 4, which is 17 parts. So Dermot got 7 parts out of a total of 17. Thus the percentage of the second group's prize that Dermot gets is 7 over 17 times 100%, which is 41.18%. So Dermot gets 41.18% of his group's winnings. And since 41.67 is bigger than 41.18, Alan gets the greater amount. You also need to be able to work with percentages in financial transactions. This section is very important. So you need to understand that purchase price and cost price, that they mean the same thing. Know the difference between selling price. Understand that profit is given by the selling price minus the cost price. You need to understand how to work out percentage profit. So percentage profit is profit divided by cost price times 100%. You need to learn this off by heart. This is also known as markup or markup percentage. You need to learn that off by heart. You need to understand about margins and margin percentages. And you need to learn the formula that margin is profit divided by selling price times 100%. You need to learn this off by heart as well. You should note carefully the difference between the markup and the margin. The first is a percentage of the cost price, while the second is a percentage of the selling price. You need to learn this off by heart. This is very, very important. You need to know that loss is going to be cost price minus selling price, And to get percentage loss, it's going to be the loss divided by the cost price times 100%. Again, you need to learn this formula off. A department store buys a fashion item and places it for sale with a markup of 50%. Later, in a sale, it sells the item at a 10% discount. Find the margin achieved by the store when the item is sold to the nearest percentage. So margin is profit divided by selling cost. Again, you need to learn this off by heart. We're going to let X be the cost price. Then the original selling price is X plus 50% of X, which is going to be 1.5X. So this is really 1X. This is technically a half X or 0.5X. And 1 plus a half is 1.5. So we get 1.5X. In the sale, the discount is 10% of 1.5X. And 10% of 1.5 is 0.15. So we get 0.15X. Thus, the sale price of the item is 1.5X, which we got from here, minus 0.15X, which we got from here, which gives us 1.35X. So this is the selling price. 1.35X is the selling price. The profit on the item is therefore 0.35X. This is the profit, 0.35X. And we got that because we just basically subtracted 1 from this. The margin achieved is the profit divided by the selling price times 100%. The profit was 0.35X. The selling price was 1.35X. The X is cancelled. Times 100%, you're left with 26%. So the margin achieved was 26%.